Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. We are officially into week 14, and we're starting off with a banger. Dallas on the road in Detroit, which is essentially an elimination game. I mean, the loser of this game, their path to the playoffs, it gets pretty thin. So this is a great game Thursday night. Things have been going well the last month. Hopefully the positivity continues. Let's talk about it. I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. All right, Dallas, Detroit. This one was at 3.5. It looks like it got bet down to 3, but there's also some injury question marks on the Detroit side specifically. So there might be some injury news affecting the movement as well. At the time of recording, we're looking at 50K limits. We're looking at a flat 3. All right, we got Dallas on the road in Detroit, Thursday Night Football in what is an awesome game. It's basically a playoff game. I'll show you the standings in a second. You probably already know. This is like a win or your season might be over type of game, honestly, for both of these teams. But we got Dak Prescott going into Ford Field. He's played 6 career games against the Lions. He's 5-1. So he's 5-1 lifetime against Detroit. 105.3 passer rating, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's played well against the Lions. Surprisingly, just one of these 6 games were actually in Ford Field. He's played 5 home games against the Lions, just 1 road game. But in that 1 road game, he didn't have problems. In fact, he threw for 444 yards in the game. A 116.6 passer rating, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This was back in 2019. This is before Jared Goff. This is the year Matt Stafford got injured. Jeff the Missile Driscoll was actually playing quarterback for Detroit in this one. This game was actually close. The final score was 35-27 Dallas. This is the year the Lions went 3-12-1 when Stafford got hurt 2 or 3 games into the season. So the only time we've seen Dak Prescott go on the road to Ford Field, he didn't have problems at all. Over 440 yards passing in the game. Now, when it comes to this Cowboys team, I think this is officially a prove-it game. Now, we all know they've been playing much better. They've won 3 games in a row, and we're talking about they just beat the 2 Super Bowl teams back-to-back. They beat the Eagles, and then 4 days later, they beat the Chiefs. So they're deserving of the hype. I'm not saying they're fraudulent or anything like that, but if you actually take a look at their last 3 games, the first one they beat the Raiders, which was their only road game in there. They beat the Raiders. Okay, everybody beats the Raiders. Then they beat the Eagles at home, which is a huge win, not trying to discredit them at all. But I mean, home division upsets happen all the time. We just saw Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo beat this Eagles team at home. So a home upset over a division rival is not that weird. We see that happen all the time across the NFL. So really, the only win that jumps out as like, okay, the Cowboys might be a little bit different is the Thanksgiving win against the Chiefs, which is a huge win. So if they go on the road and beat Detroit here, this will officially be, we might officially have to cross the line into, okay, Dallas might be an NFC playoff contender if they win this game on the road to Detroit. This is a Detroit team that needs a win badly here. They're just 1-2 in their last 3 games. Now, a couple tough ones in there. You lose on the road in Philadelphia. That happens. You lose the Thanksgiving game to Green Bay, where, I mean, Green Bay is one of the best teams in the NFL, and the 4th down conversions, Green Bay was 3 of 3, I think, and Detroit was 0-2. So even that game could have looked a little bit different. But sandwiched in between there, they almost lost to Jameis Winston. That game went to overtime, 34-27. This is a Lions team that needs to win. And just to give you an idea of how badly Detroit needs a win here, look at the NFC playoff. This is crazy. So this conference is so top-heavy. Look what the Lions are sitting in the 8th spot right now. If Detroit loses this game, what is their path to the playoffs? Who are they going to catch? The Bears? They still play the Bears again. Bears are sitting at 9-3. So, I mean, yeah, if they beat the Bears later in the season, they'll be a game closer, but they'll still be 2 behind in the loss column. Now, the Bears have a challenging schedule to finish up, so it's not crazy, but remember, Green Bay beat them twice. So you got to pass the Packers. They have a tie, so they would need the Packers to lose 3 of their last 5, and they would need to win out. You're going to catch the 49ers for a wild card spot? San Francisco, they're about to play a home game against the Titans. You can pretty much pencil the 49ers in for 10-4. So the season wouldn't be over or anything, but if the Lions lose this game, they're because the NFC North is so strong, they'd be in critical condition in terms of potentially getting into the postseason. Now, the Cowboys need this one too. If they drop to 6-6, they're going to be in trouble as well. But the NFC East isn't nearly as strong. So, I mean, the Cowboys' path to the playoffs, if they lose, would most likely be an Eagles collapse, which Philadelphia's not even playing that well. So, both these teams need a win. It's basically a playoff team for both of these teams. Again, the season wouldn't be over, but it would be in serious trouble if they lost this game. Now, good news for Detroit. We're talking about Dan Campbell coming off a loss. Now, the cover streak was broken. Remember, they lost to the Eagles, and then they played the Giants. They didn't cover the number, but they did win. So, last 14 instances of Dan Campbell coming off a loss, 14-0 Detroit. So the unbeaten streak is still alive, but just 13-1 against the spread. So you like that if you're a Detroit fan. You like Dan Campbell coming off a loss. You also like that we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys on the road. Now, the Dallas Cowboys have had this resurgence, right? We just talked about it. The only road game was against the Raiders. Apologies for not throwing the Cowboys a parade for beating the Raiders in Las Vegas. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. This is a Cowboys team that's 4-1-1 at home, just 2-4 on the road. And the only two road wins this year for Dallas, the Jets and the Raiders. So the Cowboys don't have one respectable road win all year. So you like that if you're on Detroit as well. So let's get into the matchup. And I suppose the main question here is, do we trust this Detroit defense to make stops against the Cowboys offense? Dallas offense, as I'm sure you know, very strong this year. They're 6th in success rate, 4th in EPA per play. Lions defense isn't bad at all. They're 5th and 15th. So it's not completely out of the question that the Lions can make stops in this game. Now, I mentioned how the Cowboys have struggled on the road this year. It's not really the offense. I mean, the Cowboys offense at home, video game numbers, over 32 points per game, 6.8 yards per play, over 51% success rate. Their offensive numbers on the road are fine. 6.2 yards per play. I mean, the success rate is even better. Points per game is a little down, and the defense hasn't played as well. But the Cowboys offense doesn't really fall off on the road. Now, in terms of injuries, it looks like the Cowboys will be without their left tackle, Tyler Guyton. He hasn't been ruled out or anything. He's listed as questionable, but from what I read, it looks like he's probably not going to play in this game. So maybe Detroit's able to exploit the missing left tackle there for Dallas. But when it comes to injuries, the Lions defense has no room to talk. Look at this secondary. Terrion Arnold finally came back from injury only to get hurt again. He's been ruled out. It looked like there was a chance Kirby Joseph was going to be back for this game, and he's not ruled out yet. From what I'm reading, I put doubtful up on this graphic. He's technically listed as questionable, but from what I read, it doesn't look like he's going to play. So don't take my word on that. I'm not a beat reporter. I don't have a plug with the team, but from what I read, it doesn't look like he's going to play. The good news is I think Brian Branch is going to play. So there's some good news there for Detroit, but secondary is definitely in bad shape. Front seven's in good shape, though. Remember, Davenport just came back. Their defensive tackles are healthy. Those linebackers are good. So the front seven's in good shape here. And let me tell you, this front seven better win their battles. Now, the good news is I think they can, especially with the Cowboys missing a starter on the offensive line. This Cowboys offensive line's been good this year, but so is the Lions front seven. I don't think it's crazy that Detroit's able to win these battles up front. I don't think it's crazy that they're able to limit Dallas on the ground. I also don't think it's crazy that Detroit's able to generate some pressure on Dak Prescott in this game. So I truly think the Lions' defensive front seven can win these battles and can be disruptive in this game. The problem is, on the snaps, they're unable to generate pressure on Dak Prescott. Do we trust the Lions in coverage here? Yeah, you know what the Lions do. A lot of single high safety looks, a lot of man coverage. In fact, they run more man coverage than any other team in the NFL. You're going to run single high safeties and man coverage against Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens in a dome? Good luck with that. I mean, look, I'm not a DC in the NFL. Maybe it'll work. That doesn't look great. So that defensive front seven, they better win their battles up front, because if Dak Prescott has clean pockets to throw from, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens in a dome against man coverage, against an injured secondary, it's not exactly a great matchup on paper. Now, we are talking about Dak Prescott on the road, and not that Dak Prescott's been terrible on the road or anything, but he's played considerably better at home throughout his career. A 103.7 pass rating at home, just 93.4 on the road. Again, he hasn't been terrible on the road, but he's much more reliable at home. So if you're betting Detroit here, you could say, hey, Dak Prescott's not going to play well. And we've seen that before. It's not like we've never seen Dak Prescott go on the road and inexplicably play terribly and throw some bad picks. We've seen it before. So if you're betting Detroit, you're kind of hoping Dak plays poorly, which, again, is possible. That should be a favorable matchup for him, but it is possible. I got to say, though, it's tough to ignore the Lions' last two games. They've gotten absolutely cooked through the air. In their last two games against Jameis Winston and Jordan Love, they're allowing over 316 passing yards per game, 9.4 yards per pass attempt, success rate per dropback over 59%, an average pass rating in those two games of 114.9. So that certainly doesn't look great, considering you got Dak Prescott, George Pickens, and CeeDee Lamb coming into town against an injured secondary. You don't love that. That being said, let's give the Lions a little bit of credit because they've been dealing with injuries in the secondary all year. And sure, those last two games look terrible. You look at the 4 games before that, the Lions were actually putting up decent defensive numbers against the pass. In fact, these are very good numbers against the pass. And it's not like they played complete scrubs. They played Jalen Hurts in there. They played Baker Mayfield. Remember, Baker Mayfield went to Detroit and couldn't do anything. In the 4 games before those last two, just 5.8 yards per pass attempt, under 180 passing yards allowed per game. So they got cooked in the last 2 games, but they were actually playing some pretty solid defense against the pass in the 4 games before that. And this secondary's been injured all year. So I can see a path either way. Look, on paper, it should be a good matchup for Dak Prescott, but this game is on the road. We haven't seen the Cowboys win a road game all year. Dak's been considerably better at home throughout his career. The Lions' defensive front seven could win these battles. I could see an argument for either side here, whether you think the Cowboys offense is going to go off or whether you think the Lions defense is going to play well. I could see an argument for both sides. If you're asking what my personal opinion is, I think the Lions defensive front's going to play well. And I think Dak Prescott could throw a bad pick here. I think they're able to keep the Cowboys from running the ball. And I actually think the Lions will be the more physical unit here in the defensive front. So I don't think it's crazy that the Lions play a good defensive game here. That's if you're asking what my opinion is, but you can make a strong argument on either side. Now, on the other side of the ball, this is quite the matchup here. The Lions offense, all right. So you got the Lions offense, which has injury designations out of this world, against the Cowboys defense that, do we think this Cowboys defense is good? Seriously, we know it's better. Do we think it's good? We'll take a look. But yeah, both sides of the ball, just question marks here. The Lions offense, look at this injury report. So Taylor Decker is listed as questionable. So we'll start with the good news. Taylor Decker's probably going to play. He's been listed as questionable the last 2 months. He always takes Tuesday off. He's always on the injury report, but he always plays. So Taylor Decker, left tackle, fine. Also, some more good news. Glasgow, the center. He missed the Green Bay game. He's been practicing. So it looks like the Lions might actually be getting him back. So that would be the good news portion of the Lions injury report. The bad news portion, Sewell, their other tackle, he's been downgraded to did not practice. It looks like there's a chance Sewell doesn't play in this game. I'm on Ross St. Brown. They haven't announced it. I don't think he's going to play in this game. Obviously, still no Laporta. Brock Wright, the other tight end, I don't think he's going to be back in this game. It looks like we're not going to see Khalif Raymond in this game. So, look, it looks like Taylor Decker and Glasgow on the offensive line might play. After that, I'm really not sure. Injuries are concerned here. And one of their other guards, Awasika, he's been starting at left guard this year. He's listed as questionable as well. He's not pictured in this graphic. I still have Mahogany listed as the starter. He's on the IR. I'm not sure who's actually supposed to be the starter. If you're a Lions fan, clue me in there. But the guy who's been starting at left guard, Awasika, he's questionable as well. So, yeah, a lot of injury concerns on this Lions offense. Meanwhile, the Dallas defense is in pretty good shape. In fact, they might even be getting Trayvon Diggs back, who hasn't played since, I want to say, week 5 or 6. So it's been a while since we've seen Trayvon Diggs. Defensive front seven completely healthy. Malik Hooker listed as questionable, but Cowboys defense is in great shape. So injury-wise, the Dallas defense has a huge edge here. But when it comes to this Dallas defense, I have to ask, do we think this Cowboys defense is good? Serious question. We know it's been better. It's been talked about ad nauseum. I'm sure everyone on Twitter and YouTube is talking about how the Cowboys defense is better. Look at the numbers. First 9 games, they were allowing over 30 points per game, 6.8 yards per play, success rate over 55%. No question it's been better. In their last 3 games, I mean, it hasn't been good, but it's been better. They're allowing 6 yards per play, success rate just over 47%, 21.7 points allowed per game. It's been better. But if you actually take a closer look at their last 3 games, I mean, they played well against the Raiders. That's one of the worst offenses in the NFL, probably the worst offensive line with the injuries in the NFL. Not throwing the Cowboys defense a parade for playing a solid game against the Raiders. And then they played the Eagles, and we thought that was this huge, like, oh, this Cowboys defense is back. They shut down Philly. Man, I just saw the Chicago Bears defense shut down Philly. The Bears do not have a good defense. That is not a good defense. They're super injured. They were missing all their linebackers in the game. They shut the Eagles offense down. Philadelphia's playing like a bottom 5 offense right now. So if you actually take a look and you consider that the Eagles offense is not good right now, the Raiders have the worst offense in the NFL, then they played the Chiefs and they won the game. It was a huge win. The defense didn't look good. They allowed 6.7 yards per play, over 49% success rate in that game. The offense won them the game. Cowboys defense didn't play well against the Chiefs. So I really have to ask you, do you think this Cowboys defense is good? What if this Cowboys defense still sucks? They played good games against the Raiders and against the Eagles. We just saw the Bears shut down the Eagles. Isn't there a path to that take to, hey, the Cowboys defense being good is a mirage? I don't think that's an unreasonable take. I mean, they got lit up by the Chiefs. They played 2 good games against terrible offenses. Now, the Cowboys defense is better. No question. It's healthier. They added pieces. No question. It's better. But this Cowboys defense might still be awful. And when it comes to this Lions offense, obviously they're so injured. They lose to Green Bay. We can't trust this team right now. No St. Brown. Offensive line is banged up, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the offense looked pretty good against the Packers. They averaged 6.6 yards per play, 45.6% success rate in the game. They were moving the ball against Green Bay, and they had all the same injuries. St. Brown got injured, in the first quarter? Brock Wright didn't play in the game. Glasgow at center, he didn't play in the game. He actually might be coming back, so they might even be healthier here, this Lions offense. Remember, the Lions lost this game against the Packers because they went 0 for 3 on 4th down conversions, and the Packers went 2 for 2. I believe both Packers touchdowns, or 2 of the Packers touchdowns, were on 4th down conversions. So I'm not saying Detroit should have won the game or anything. I'm just saying the idea that the Lions got dominated or the offense is too injured to do anything, it's not really accurate. The Lions offense was moving the ball in that game. So is it that crazy to say the Lions offense, even with the injuries, just moves the ball up and down the field against the Cowboys defense in Ford Field? I think they'll be able to run the ball in this game. We've all just kind of anointed the Cowboys defense. They're good against the run now. I mean, they were getting steamrolled for most of this season. They played the Raiders, the worst rushing attack in the NFL. The Eagles haven't been able to run the ball all year. And then the Chiefs, who lit them up, and the Chiefs don't really run the ball. This Lions team, yes, they struggled to run the ball on Thanksgiving against the Packers, 30% success rate per rush. Are we just going to forget that in the 3 games before that, they were averaging 7.4 yards per carry, almost 180 rushing yards per game? I think Detroit can run the ball on Dallas in this game, even if Sewell doesn't play at right tackle. Hopefully he plays, but if Glasgow's back, Taylor Decker's playing, I think the Lions can run the ball on this Cowboys defense. And look, when it comes to the Cowboys pass rush, this is the one aspect of the Dallas defense that I believe in. This pass rush, it got off to a slow start, so their season-long numbers don't make them look like a great pass rush. They actually are a good pass rush. Dallas is definitely capable of generating pressure in this game, and we know Jared Goff struggles with pressure. So, look, there's a path here. I can see the Cowboys pass rush being disruptive in this one, but I think we'll see Detroit stick with the downhill run game. I think we'll see a lot of Gibbs, a lot of Montgomery. Not exactly a hot take. I think everyone knows that's what we're going to see. I think they'll work Goff out of play action. I don't know how many 7-step drops we'll see here from Jared Goff because I think Detroit believes they can run the ball in Dallas, and I think they're right in believing that. So I think the Lions are going to move the ball in this game. I think they're able to sustain long drives, maybe not a ton of explosive plays. Gibbs can probably rip one off, but with no St. Brown, maybe it'll be slow, sustained drives. Look, I didn't bet this game. If you're asking me what I would bet, it would be Lions -3 and under 54.5. That's the way I'd go with it. I think the Lions are capable of winning the battle on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think the market's kind of drinking up this Dallas Kool-Aid, forgetting that this team hasn't won a meaningful road game all year. They're 2-4 on the road, and their only 2 road wins were against the Jets and the Raiders. I think it's the ultimate sell high spot on Dallas. I would probably make this game a strong 3, maybe 3.5. I'm not saying there's a huge edge here. That's why I didn't bet it. But if I could get a Lions -2.5 at -120, I'd probably do that. Maybe even a -3 at +100. I might do that. If you're asking me what I would bet, it's Lions -3. It's under 54.5. This should be a great one, playoff type atmosphere, but in terms of betting it, I just feel like there's too many avenues. Like, I could see the Cowboys going off here. I could see the Lions going off. I could see a 48-45 game. I could also see a 26-17 game. I feel like there's so many paths. So yeah, if you're asking me what I would bet, Lions -3 and under, but I personally didn't do anything with this one. Thanks for watching. Live shows at midnight Eastern time as always. Gonna need another couple days to get the NBA ready. I thought my spreadsheets would be ready to go. Haven't opened them in a while. They need some updating. So gonna need a couple days of work to get NBA up and rolling. We got conference championships, college football this weekend. Should be a great one. So I'll be uploading content on that. Yeah, well, let's have a good NFL week. Remember to bet responsibly.